What is going on, everyone? We are live for our post-round one draft recap for our Tennessee Titans. It appears potentially the last piece of this offensive line has been put in place, and we are ready to move forward with this year's season. So, without further ado, let's start this show. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Levis towards the end zone. Got a man. Touchdown. Wow. And it's the fourth TD pass of the day in the debut of Will Levis.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast. Sick! It's going to be sick.
All right, ladies and gents, welcome back to another live edition of the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. I'm here with my two counterparts, one of which is to my right live tonight. I am at El Casa de Foot. Very excited. We are finally here. The first round is finally over. Panthers are picking last here. We're wrapping up. JC Latham, newest member of the Tennessee Titans. Our left tackle, according to Rand Carthon, has been picked, and he's in place. Instant reactions, I'll give it right to the homeowner here to kick us off, Jarett.
I mean, we already saw ours.
That's true.
Let's give it a Vin before.
Let's give it a Vin.
So it was an unexpected pick, I think, for most of us. I was a little upset. We did not get Joe Alt. I don't think I've been that upset about not getting an offensive lineman ever in my life. Obviously, you can see I look tired. It's been a long first round. I was watching with my buddy Blaze. His Chargers took Joe Alt. I thought at 7 we were going to end up going probably O'Dunes or maybe Jarrett's boy Bowers or a more natural fit at left tackle in Fashanu. That being said, everybody that is of importance who has intelligence in the football world seems to like the pick. Woody John, who's the offensive lineman for the Jets and Patriots, Woody something. He's on ESPN. What's his name?
What they call him, Swagoo?
Maybe, whatever. He seems
I know who you're talking about.
Damian Woody?
Yeah, Damian Woody.
Damian Woody. Yeah, I got the first last name. Like I said, it's been a long night, boys. He said JC Latham with Bill Callahan, ... unfair. The dude's a massive human being. Never been injured, really. Somebody had tweeted that he never missed a game in high school or college, never had a surgery. Love to hear that. Also have to love that we're building this team from the inside out. We're doing it the right way. I just didn't think he would be the pick. So I felt like there was a lot of anticipation for us to take a player that we didn't think we were going to take. That being said, he's now a part of our team. I wish him nothing but the best, obviously, and hopefully that left side is anchored down for 8, 10, 12 years, hopefully. So anticlimactic in my opinion, but at the end of the day, he's our guy now. Excuse me. And let's hope it works out because, I would have done bad things to get Joe Alt. I would have moved up to get him. He's a pure left tackle, 6'8", 330. We ended up with Latham. Listen, I don't want to sound upset about the pick. It's more or less me just being tired at the moment. But that being said, I was a bit surprised. But he's our guy now, so.
I mean, first reaction, obviously, you saw me and Sal's reaction. I mean, when Joe Alt got drafted, obviously we were pissed off.
The neighbors.
The neighbors with the Giants. Obviously, but then Latham, we were just sitting here just as we are right here, like, okay, it was a need. But when you really dig deep, besides the raw reaction that we had, it was an absolute need. Like you said, it fills the most glaring need that we need on this team. Chris Sims, I brought it up to Sal before, said that it was his first overall prospect for offensive lineman. The kid can maul. He's huge. He's willing to play left tackle. He was a left tackle. He moved to right tackle only because Evan Neal was there at Alabama. So he moved over to the right side. So the kid has he hasn't never played left tackle before. He did play left tackle. Now that you pair him with Bill Callahan, Bill Callahan said that it was his favorite draft prospect in the whole draft. Right then and there shows you that this kid's going to play left tackle. Will Levis already FaceTimed him and said, "I'm with your future, your buddy at your left guard." So he's going to play left tackle. You drafted him to be left tackle. So I think that this is going to be a great pair for the blind side for Will Levis to get Calvin Ridley the ball, DeAndre Hopkins the ball, and finally Treylon Burks, hopefully. I mean, we've been talking all night about Treylon Burks over here. So, I mean, hopefully he can take the next step and we can take the next step as the offense with Brian Callahan now that we have the blind side locked up.
Yeah, I said it a million times. I'll say it a million more. If you trust the staff, if you trust the coaches, we needed to protect this quarterback because this is the guy we are moving forward with. This is the guy we're invested in. So if they believe that Latham is the answer at left tackle and you trust this staff, then tonight was an absolute home run. At the end of the day, it was a home run. It was the most glaring need this football team had on both sides of the ball was protecting our young quarterback's blind side. And it appears that this guy is going to be the one who's going to be protecting his blind side. So, we're damn near close to 40 years old. So, all things considered, obviously, well, that's the truth. Hopefully, that's the truth. Listen, Neighbors would have been our guy if he was there at 7. I believe that wholeheartedly. We were taking him if he was there, but he wasn't. If Joe Alt was there, I believe we were taking him at 7, but he wasn't. Who was there? Latham. And who loved him? Apparently, Mr. Callahan, or what the father's name is, Bill, right?
Bill.
Yeah. Bill obviously thought he was the best player at the position, and I'll trust his word over mine or anyone watching right now. So, can we address wide receiver in the second round? Yes, we can. It's anyone's guess if we will. I personally think if we're going to continue to stick with the status quo of what this team needs, defensive tackle is the obvious choice there at 38. I don't know who's there, who's going to be there, what his worth is. Like I've said to you guys a million times, I'm not a big college football guy. I do the best I can during draft season, of course, but I don't know what the value is going to be at that position, at that spot, but it's definitely a glaring need. So we'll see how things shape up. But if we trust this staff, we can't have the same nightmares about all the previous times we've swung and missed at the tackle position. And I think it's safe to say their first draft, even though Rand considers this his first, last year's draft was a success, I think, for the most part. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. If Latham is the guy, then we are going to contend this year. This year we will contend. Couple spots on defense we can improve on, but offense is set. It's set for 2024, and that's a beautiful thing, and we should all be happy about that.
Jarett, can you at least give me my flowers and admit that I was right, that all that talk about prioritizing players that score touchdowns over the offensive line was a bit of a smokescreen from –
I thought that as well.
No, I mean, of course. I mean, like I said, we're the ones that are doing podcasts over here, just like, the 100 other people that are doing podcasts out there. But those guys in the building are actually getting paid and scouting and doing all that stuff. Like we said, of course, the sexy pick is not offensive tackle, but the smartest pick, like you said, is offensive tackle. What did I say? Offensive tackle twice there?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Fuck it.
The Woodford Reserve.
He's drunk. I'm stoned. Who cares?
The Woodford Reserve is not talking. The sexiest pick was a wide receiver, but the smartest pick right there was offensive tackle and Latham. And a lot of people had Latham as their top offensive tackle. Ola was up there too. He dropped obviously after the combine. Joe Alt was the staple over there. So it was basically between Latham and Joe Alt. I think we got a great deal. There's a lot of people left on the board right now. If we even want to go talk into the second round at 38, my personal opinion is wide receivers are going to start flying off the board now that Buffalo's there, New England is there. We have pick 6 now in the second round. Don't think we go wide receiver. I think we move back a couple spots to get the defensive lineman out there. Just to name a few guys out there. Newton is still out there. Fisk is still out there, and Chris Jenkins is still out there, who I projected us in my last mock draft. That's still out there. So if we can move back and get one of those 3 and acquire a third-round pick, I'd be ecstatic.
Somebody said McConkey We'll pull that up again.
I mean, absolutely. I would love him too. But I think the most glaring need, and we talked about this off air, in between the live prior and now here, the most glaring need, if you're a smart Titans fan now, is defensive line. We have Ridley, we have Hopkins, we have Burks. If Burks is it that can play, and if we acquire another veteran wide receiver besides NWI, our wide receiver room is kind of set. Now, for the future-wise, DeAndre Hopkins is not going to be there possibly after next year. Treylon Burks could be a bust this year. Who knows? So the wide receiver is very intriguing at 38. So if we stick and pick and McConaughey is there, absolutely. I would love that. But, we need help.
Yeah, we need
Big Jeff. Yeah. So, that's the most glaring need to me, in my opinion.
Well, I didn't realize, too, that Xavier Legette went 32nd to the Panthers. Is a guy I liked a little bit that I thought maybe we could have targeted in the second round. But, listen, it is what it is. I saw a phenomenal tweet today that compared drafting an offensive lineman in the first round to getting a pair of socks on Christmas. It is never the most exciting thing. Yeah. It's not the sexy thing. But if that pair of socks gets the job done, it is very well worth it. That being said, second round, I think the fact that we went after receiver in free agency, we bypassed the receiver in the first round, the likes of O'Dunes for the likes of Latham, I think that is a telling sign that we will now go bypass receiver again and go defensive line or cornerback, someone in the secondary with our second round pick. If we move back, it wouldn't surprise me a little bit if we tried to pick up a third. But that being said, I think we have to start focusing on the defensive side of the ball because, like Sal said, I think we're pretty set on the line. I think the right tackle position is going to be a position that we tackle, no pun intended, internally with MPF or Radunes. We'll see. I'm excited for tomorrow, though. Last year, our second round pick seemed to work out. Hopefully this year it's more of the same. So,
yeah, somebody mentioned, corners. I think corner in the second round would be a head scratcher. But at the end of the day, I continue to trust this staff. So I'm not going to be mad about any selection we take. I know I said that yesterday. I mentioned if we took edge first round, I would be mad. I would have been mad at that initially, but I'm going to trust this staff wholeheartedly. Just my personal opinion, I wouldn't attack corner. I don't think we need a corner in the top 2 rounds with the kid from Cincinnati we picked up and Snead and McCreary and some other guys that we still have lingering that play corner. But listen, it's going to come down to how many wide receivers go in the first 5 picks of this. I think it's going to be almost the exact situation as the first round. I think we're going to want wide receiver, but we're going to have players, maybe 2 or 3, probably 2, that we're going to be looking at, that if they're not there, then we're going to have to attack another need, and hopefully it's defensive tackle. But I think they have the guys on their board that if they are there at that 6th pick in the second round at receiver, they're going to go for it. Because, again, I think Neighbors was 100% their pick had not the Giants fucked us over and taken him there, which I don't know how they take him over some offensive line help, but I get it. They need receivers really badly as well. But real quick, the head scratcher of the night is clearly one of 2, whether that be Atlanta or the Raiders taking Brock when they have Michael Mayer. I don't understand that at all. But outside of that, I think it really wasn't a lot of big shocks outside of Atlanta and that Brock Bowers.
I don't know about you, but I personally thought there was going to be a lot more trades in the first round. There was 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 12 picks. What was it? 8 offensive linemen we talked about.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it wasn't a defensive player until 15.
Offensive linemen flew off the board of tackles, and quarterbacks flew off the board, which is great for us at 38 because, like I said, biggest needs we have here are defensive line and wide receivers, and there is a ton of talent out there right now in those 2 positions, especially like corner. If we wanted to do that, inside linebacker, there's still a lot of guys out there. The linebacker from Michigan, NC State, Peyton Wilson's still out there.
Donnie Mitchell. Everybody talks about that kid.
Yeah, I mean, you have McConaughey. who else? Keon Coleman's still out there. Brandon Fitz is still out there. I mean, there's a ton of talent still at 38. So if we stick and pick, it'll be great. But then again, we don't have that third round to come back into the second round or that ammunition to go into the third round. So if we slide back a couple, that is the play for me to get to like 45 tomorrow.
But how many? I mean, you would have to trade up a fair amount in the second round to get a third for it, wouldn't you?
No, I would slide back to 45 and listen.
But how far back do you think you'd have to go to slide back in order to get somebody to give you a third round to move up into the second? That's going to have to be a pretty big jump, I would assume. I hope I'm wrong, but if they want a third round pick out of a second round trade back, I would assume it's going to put us kind of where you had that mock, low 50s, and I don't know if I want to go that far.
If the board is still working the way it is, I think we can afford to do that. Like I said, whatever their board looks like, whether it's wide receiver, cornerback, or defensive line, the way the board's going, it's working in our favor as of right now. The way I see it as a fan.
Yeah,
and you don't know. We can keep our second, then trade our fourth and fifth to get back into the third. I'm looking at our picks right now. We have the 6th pick in the 4th round, the 11th pick in the 5th round. If you want to package those two to think you can get back into the third and find a team to make that deal, you don't know. But
yeah, and mortgage something else for next year too, along with that too. You can do that too. Yeah, you're right.
Here's what I'm thinking. This is the last thing that I'll say before we'll all give our final thoughts and wrap up. Because I think that Neighbors was really the guy they really wanted and thought they would get between Alt and him. And because of the comments they made, although I thought it was a smoke screen to get tackle, and it might have been, I still really feel like Callahan wants to get his hands on a legitimate playmaker on the offense side of the football in the early rounds. So part of me is leaning that we are gonna take a wide receiver in the second round, and I would be thrilled with it, absolutely thrilled with it, because then we, maybe third round or fourth round plus, we can attack defensive tackle. I'm sure it's deep enough we can find somebody that's impactful. But they've been saying at every press conference, how they want people that are playmakers, impact players, how much they value them. Well, you got your protection that we so desperately needed at pick number 7. Now let's put your money where your mouth is, and let's amplify this. I told Jarett this already. This wide receiving group for 2024 is stacked. We're set. We should be real good if Burks can even be remotely productive. But past this year, it could be a disaster wide receiver because D-Hop could leave. Burks could actually be a bust. Now you're stuck with Calvin Ridley and whoever the fuck else. Yep. So, wide receiver in the second round is not far-fetched, and it should be a serious consideration. But if it's not, defensive tackle. That's all I got to say. So you guys want to, any final thoughts before we close out for tonight? I know Vin's ready to hit the stack.
Vin, I just want your opinion wholeheartedly. Do you think the Titans stick and pick at 38, or do you think they trade?
I think they stick and pick at 38.
So you think they're going one pick tomorrow, or do you think they're going to try to get back into the third round?
I think they pick at 38, and there's a possibility they try to get into the third round, but I saw a clip of Carthon talking about there are some players that we know will be there in the second round that we have our eye on, players that they knew would drop and they see value in. So I think you have to get an impact player at 38, especially for a team that's borderline rebuild, wouldn't want to say full blown because we have some talent, but I think with a class this deep, at so many different positions, you stick and pick at 38 and go with your guy, whoever it may be.
I really did not want to be reminded about that fucking Week 18 win. And I seriously though, and I'm not going to make a big fuss about it because I already brought it up a couple of days ago or yesterday, but everybody that was all, oh yeah, listen, it was great we kicked the Jags out of the playoffs. And it was great that Derrick Henry could go on the mic and say, congrats guys, thanks so much and all the love after a win. But reality, that win pretty much cost us Malik Neighbors. Now, could work out, and I hope it does. We could take a stud in the second round. We could get T. Higgins next year. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's 90% sure, at least in my opinion, that if we lost that game, we would have Malik Neighbors as a Titan this year. But I don't want to get too intertwined in that. It's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, but that's it. That's really it.
I mean, I'm okay with it now that we have the blind side, but like we said, we had somebody on TV just now, Roman Wilson. If Roman Wilson's there, Lavin Connolly's there, Keon Coleman's there, or Corley. Any one of those wide receivers I would take at 38 if that's what we're doing, sticking and picking. Then I kind of agree with you on the situation where that they would stick and pick and they would just have the one pick tomorrow because we don't have the third round pick next year either. So to mortgage all those picks to come back into the second or come back into the third is going to be a lot.
Yeah, no, it's probably not the right play. I just think as it's been throughout this whole process, and I've said it the whole time, you got to value your picks.
Yeah.
Trading back historically has not really worked for us. We know J-Rob's done it tons and tons of times. So let's see how it plays out. Let's trust Rand. Let's trust Callie. And let's just see where the board falls. And I'm good. Go to sleep tonight, everyone watching, knowing that it's very likely, there's no guarantees in this league, but it's very likely that our franchise quarterback that we hope to win a Super Bowl with is going to be a lot more safe on Sundays today or tomorrow, as you know, than he was yesterday. So that's the best news we could ask for. And if we get the playmakers during this weekend, that ain't gonna be too bad either. But we'll see how things shape up. But I think we're gonna wrap up. Everyone that joined in for the reaction, now, anytime, as always, we can't thank you enough taking any time out of your busy night and day to join us to talk Titan football. If you're not subscribed to our channel, please do that. YouTube, make sure to check us out on iTunes, Spotify. We put all of our episodes on both platforms. And that's really going to do it for us, guys. We'll be live throughout the next coming days to go over our picks that we're going to have for this weekend. Make sure you check our Twitter page, Sick Podcast Talking Titans, to keep up with any news that's going on with our Titans. And that's pretty much it. So hope everyone had fun tonight. Happy I got to share the first round with Jarett here. And that's about it, guys. So as always, tighten up. And Sammy, you know the drill. Send us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.